The wind cut through the courtyard like a cold blade. Snow fell in fine, silent flakes under the lantern light. Marina Cross crouched behind a marble column. Her breath came in shallow, hurried bursts. Ivory gowns and tuxedos glowed in the distance. Music drifted from the grand ballroom like a haunting melody. She gripped her easel's edge, knuckles white. Frost clung to the stone floor beneath her boots. Her heart pounded in her ears. A single torch flickered near the exit gate. Marina's canvas lay hidden beneath her coat. She dared not think of discovery. A sharp crack echoed through the night air. Someone approached on the polished tiles above. Her pulse leapt. She glanced upward, eyes wide. A black hooded figure paused at the stair's edge. Footsteps scraped softly against the marble. Marina swallowed back a gasp. She had a single goal tonight. She needed proof of his identity. Proof to save her family's name. Her father's fortune lay in ruin. False accusations haunted their estate. She painted to prove the truth. The truth lay hidden in his face. She had his portrait sketch in charcoal. But now she needed color. She needed to capture his soul. A distant bell tolled midnight. Snowflakes melted against her warm cheek. Her fingers trembled beneath her gloves. She volleyed a silent prayer. The hooded figure descended another step. Her chest tightened. She pressed herself against the pillar. The stone's chills seeped through her coat. Her fine silk gown had cost too much. Luxury felt like a curse tonight. Memories of the ball flickered beneath the snowfall. She had slipped away from the dancers. She had followed a whisper through the window. A promise of answers had called her here. She traced her fingers over the easel's box. Inside lay her paints and brushes. She dared a glance upward again. The figure raised a hand. A low voice cut the silence. "Show yourself!" Marina stilled her breath. Her throat tightened like a noose. She peered around the column's edge. Pale moonlight revealed his sharp profile. He wore the Duke's family ring on one finger. His breath plumed in the frigid air. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. He stepped closer, boots crunching. She forced her legs to move. Her gown rustled like whispered secrets. He raised a lantern high. The light danced over his strong jaw. Marina shrank back, trembling. Memories flashed of his kindness. A single encounter in the ballroom's light. She had painted his face from a fleeting glance. He had touched her hand so softly. Now he stood before her. Her plan teetered on the edge of ruin. The lantern's glow flickered over her hidden easel. His eyes narrowed. He spotted the wrapped bundle. His lips parted, but no words came. A gust of wind slammed the giant gates. The lantern wavered, shadows leaping. Marina seized her moment. She dashed across the open marble floor, paint box slipping in her gloved hand. The Duke lunged forward with a shout. Her skirts trailed like phantom wings. The lantern toppled, shattering glass. Flames danced wildly in the falling snow. She skidded toward the wrought iron gates. Snow blurred the towering spires. She gasped for breath. Her fingers brushed the latch. A sudden hand closed on her wrist. Pain jolted up her arm. She spun to face him. His eyes burned with confusion. "Marina," he whispered, voice ragged. She shook her head, tears mixing with snow. "You can't follow me," she breathed. He freed her hand, stepping back. A roar split the night behind them. Soldiers poured into the courtyard, torches raised. Marina stumbled, heart in her throat. She clutched her easel to her chest. Silver moonlight glinted on bayonets. The Duke drew his sword to her silence. Her chest tightened as the soldiers advanced. She raised her eyes to his face. His expression hardened with resolve. He blocked the soldiers' path with a shout. Steel rang against steel in the frosty air. She tasted blood on her lips. He turned to her, eyes fierce. "Go now," he commanded. She hesitated, torn between fear and loyalty. Explosion of footsteps thundered behind her. A frantic shout rang out close by. She seized his hand. Cold metal pressed to her side. His grip tightened. Snow swirled around them in chaos. Her heart pounded with urgency. He glanced at the advancing soldiers, then back at her, determination blazing. The flames of the shattered lantern cast wild shadows. She could almost hear her father's plea. Proof or ruin awaited her. She swallowed hard. He pressed something into her palm, a folded scrap of paper. Ink blurred around a single word. "Trust." A cannon blast thundered in the distance. The ground trembled beneath her boots. She stumbled backward, eyes on him. He drew his sword again, his gaze never left hers. A sudden crash echoed as statues fell. Snowflakes swirled like shattered glass. Marina closed her eyes, her breath caught in her chest. When she opened them, he was gone. She stood alone amid the wreckage. Her hand clutched the scraps of paper tight. A new storm rolled in overhead. Lightning cracked the ink-black sky. She whispered his name. No answer came. Sirens wailed through the night air. She forced her legs to move forward. Her goal burned with fierce urgency. She must find him before dawn. The paper trembled in her hand. Rain began to fall in icy drops. She raised the scrap to her lips. Ink smudged across her gloved fingers. She looked up at the ruined courtyard. Moonlight glinted on broken dreams. She set her jaw with resolve. She would paint his portrait. She would keep it on her heart. She would save him before sunrise. Marina Cross woke before dawn in her Brooklyn brownstone. Soft light filtered through lace curtains. She slipped from crisp white sheets. The floorboards creaked beneath her slippers. A framed sketch of him rested on her dresser. She touched the charcoal lines with careful fingers. Her heart fluttered at the memory of the ball. She dressed in a worn denim jacket and jeans. Her auburn hair fell in loose waves. In the kitchen, her mother poured steaming coffee. A faint scent of cinnamon filled the air. Marina accepted a mug with trembling hands. Her mother studied her over the rim. "You missed dinner," she whispered, voice tired. Marina sipped coffee, warmth spreading through her. She forced a small smile. "Late meeting," she lied softly. Her mother nodded, worry etched on her face. Down the hall, her younger brother, Jonah, stirred. He yawned and rubbed sleepy eyes. "Morning, Marin," he mumbled. She tousled his hair gently. He offered a crooked grin. School books lay open on the dining table. Marina set her coffee down. She cleared Jonah's books with quick movements. Her father's old journal sat at the table's corner. She opened it to a marked page. Ink bled around a single phrase. "Find the truth," her breath caught. Memories of the ball swirled back. He smiled at me. Her heart tightened. She closed the journal with care. Jonah pinched the bridge of his nose. "Please drive me today," he pleaded. Marina nodded, gathering her keys. Outside, crisp autumn air brushed her cheeks. Yellow leaves danced along the sidewalk. Her battered Volkswagen idled at the curb. She slid into the driver's seat. Jonah hopped in beside her. The radio buzzed with morning talk. Marina turned it off. Jonah fiddled with his sneakers. "How's work?" he asked quietly. She glanced at him in the mirror. "Busy," she replied. He nodded, uneasy silence settling. They reached the art studio in Dumbo by 7:30. Brick walls glowed in the rising sun. Marina unlocked the heavy door. Her easels stood in neat rows. Canvases leaned against exposed beams. Paint tubes and brushes lay scattered. She inhaled deep, the familiar scent of oil and canvas. Jonah slipped behind a bench. "Skip school," he teased softly. Marina laughed, tension melting. "Nice try." He rolled his eyes. She set her coffee on a work table. A half-finished landscape sat under a tarp. Her mentor, Carter Hayes, emerged from the back room. His glasses perched low on his nose. He studied her with concern. "Rough night?" he asked. Marina nodded, forcing calm. "I'm fine." He placed a supportive hand on her shoulder. "You looked shaken at the ball." She closed her eyes, recalling frozen snow. "It was intense." His gaze softened. "Your talent shines. Don't lose faith." She managed a grateful smile. He turned away to inspect another painting. Marina unpacked her brushes. She selected a fine sable round. She squeezed a dab of crimson paint. Her fingers hesitated before touching canvas. "I can't rest until I know the truth." She began a gentle sketch. Jonah peeked over her shoulder. "Cool," he whispered. She stifled a grin. Afternoon sunlight filtered through skylights. Brooklyn Bridge appeared in the distance. Tourists dotted the walkway below. She painted the pounding of her heart. Each brushstroke echoed her resolve. Her phone buzzed with a text from her mother. "Can you buy milk?" she typed back quickly. Milk, eggs, and truth, she thought bitterly. The studio's door opened again. Carter's assistant, Leela, entered with fresh canvas. She smiled brightly. "Morning, Marina." Marina waved without looking up. Leela sensed her tension. "Big day," Marina nodded. Leela placed the canvas on the easel. Marina inhaled deeply. She eyed the blank space. This is where he will emerge. Her phone chimed again. A calendar reminder. Court hearing 3 days. Her jaw clenched. Her family faced ruin without proof. She set the reminder aside. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Jonah peeked his head in. Lunch! Marina glanced at the clock. No time. He frowned but slipped away. Silence returned with the hum of traffic. She loaded more paint onto her palette. Crimson, gold, and ivory. Colors of the ball, colors of memory. Her mind drifted to his laugh. Rich and comforting. Then to his piercing gaze, full of secrets. She sketched his jawline again. Her hand trembled. A distant siren wailed. Brooklyn's studio life felt fragile. Her struggle pressed down on her chest. Her dreams balanced on this canvas. At 6:00 p.m., Carter closed the studio. He patted her shoulder gently. Don't work too late. She nodded, distracted. He left. Marina wiped her brush on a rag. Her eyes burned with exhaustion. She cleaned her palette methodically, each color a promise. She locked the studio door behind her. Jonah waited on the sidewalk. He hopped into the car with a grin. Game tonight, she forced a smile. Maybe tomorrow. They rode home in silence. Streetlights flickered above the avenue. Her mind replayed each detail of the ball. Velvet gowns, orchestra crescendos, his brief, meaningful glance. She parked outside their brownstone. She grabbed her bag and keys. Jonah bounded inside. Her mother met her at the door. Dinner's cold, she murmured. Marina hugged her tightly. She smelled the familiar scent of oregano. Family warmth and fear mingled in the kitchen. Her father sat at the table, weary eyes on her. Any news? He asked softly. She shook her head. He sighed, tracing a finger around his coffee cup. Marina slid into her chair. She cradled her mug in both hands. Tomorrow, she promised. Her father nodded, hope flickering. After dinner, she retreated to her room. Sketchpads and pencils littered her desk. She flipped to a blank page. I saw him at the fountain. She jotted a quick note. Under the title's memory, she paused. She painted his portrait. A storm rumbled outside. Raindrops tapped against her windowpane. She closed her eyes, imagining his face. She whispered into the dark, I will finish it. Lightning framed her silhouette. Thunder shook the old brownstone. Her resolve strengthened. She reached for her phone. She typed a message. Meet me at the studio tomorrow. Her finger hovered over send. She hesitated, mind racing. Trust or betrayal? Her thumb pressed send. Her heart fluttered painfully. She set the phone aside. He kept the portrait on his heart. She closed her eyes and whispered, He must have faith in me. Rain pattered through the night. Marina drifted into uneasy sleep. A new day would demand more courage. What secrets will his portrait reveal? A pale dawn light crept into the studio. Marina unlocked the door with trembling fingers. Her message to him felt like a promise. She set her bag down silently. The easel waited under a dust sheet. She peeled the cover away gently. Canvas stared back at her blankly. Her phone buzzed with a reply. He wrote, I'll be there at noon. Her heart fluttered with relief. She exhaled slowly. At 11:50, Marina arranged her paints. Crimson, ivory, and sapphire lay ready. Her breath hitched as the clock ticked. She paced the wooden floorboards. What will he bring? A soft knock echoed at the door. Marina's hand froze mid-step. She opened it to reveal him. He stood in jeans and a dark coat. His hair was damp from rain. He offered a folded parchment. Marina took it with startled eyes. Ink curled on the page in elegant script. Your father's ledger is safe with me, it read. Her breath caught in her throat. He stepped inside quietly. Raindrops clung to his dark hair. He shrugged off his coat. Marina studied the parchment. Her father's ledger held proof of debts. She traced the handwriting with care. His eyes searched her face. Why help me? She whispered. He glanced away, voice low. My family owes yours a debt. She's never heard this confession. His gaze flicked to her canvas. I saw your sketch at the ball. Marina's pulse quickened. He held out his hand. Inside lay a small wooden box. She opened it with shaking fingers. Inside was a gold locket. A miniature portrait peeked from within. His own face, painted in exquisite detail. Her breath caught painfully. How did you? She began. He closed the box gently. My grandmother commissioned it years ago. She remembered the tale her father told. A lost locket wandering through time. Her chest tightened with wonder. He continued softly, I watched you paint. Marina's cheeks warmed at the memory. He paused, voice breaking. I couldn't stop thinking of you. She stepped closer, heart aching. His eyes shimmered with honesty. She tucked the ledger under her arm. His gaze followed the book. This ledger verifies your father's claims. Her hands trembled with relief. She gripped the locket in her palm. The weight felt like hope. He studied her intently. Let me help you finish. Marina's breath steadied. She nodded slowly. His relief mirrored her own. Thunder rumbled in the distance. Rain pattered on the skylights. She led him to the easel. He hovered beside her quietly. She mixed a dab of crimson. His presence warmed the cold room. She began to sketch his outline. His posture stiffened with focus. He glanced at the locket's portrait, then at Marina's tentative strokes. Her brush hovered in midair. He cleared his throat softly. Tell me more about your father. Her heart skipped a beat. She realized how little she knew. She glanced at the ledger's cover. My father was an honest man. She paused, voice wavering. He trusted the Duke's family. His brows furrowed gently. I discovered Ledger's missing records. She swallowed hard. Accusations nearly ruined us. He nodded, sympathy in his eyes. I've seen the recovery of debts. She dabbed ivory onto her palette. Her brush began painting his cheek. Each stroke carried gratitude. He watched each movement intently. A sudden crash startled them both. A loose window shutter banged open. Rain splashed across the hardwood floor. Marina rushed to close it. He helped gently, side by side. Water dripped onto his sleeve. He smiled at her, drenched hair clinging. Her chest tightened with warmth. She returned to her canvas. He stood close, silent support. Minutes passed in quiet focus. Then he cleared his throat again. There's someone watching you. Marina froze mid-stroke. Her heart jolted. Who? She whispered. He hesitated, voice low. A man in the ledger's margins. He tapped a name on the parchment. Marina knelt to read it. Silas Blackwood. Her breath hitched. Silas, a rival creditor's name. Danger tightened around her heart. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Be careful, he warned gently. Marina met his gaze firmly. I will finish this portrait. She met his steady resolve. He nodded, concern softening his eyes. She set her brush aside. He offered his hand to her. Together they walked to the window. Rain blurred the Brooklyn skyline. She clutched the locket and ledger. Her mission crystallized with clarity. She turned to face him. I need your trust, she said. His gaze held unwavering faith. You already have it. She inhaled deep, bracing herself. Outside, the storm raged on. Inside, a fragile alliance formed. Her brush re-entered the paint. His silhouette guided her strokes. A promise of truth glowed between them. Now the real danger begins. Marina stared at Silas Blackwood's name again. Her breath hitched at its weight. She dipped her brush into sapphire paint. His silhouette emerged under her strokes. Footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. She froze, brush midair. A knock sounded on the studio door. She shared a quick glance with him. He mouthed, "Stay hidden." She slipped behind the canvas. He opened the door slightly. A tall man entered, coat dripping rain. Silas Blackwood's cold eyes scanned the room. He wore a tailored suit and polished boots. His gaze fixed on the locket in Marina's hand. He stepped forward, voice soft. Lost something, Duke? Silas smiled thinly at the portrait. Marina's pulse thundered in her ears. She pressed herself behind stacked canvases. He moved closer to the easel. His shadow stretched across the floor. You think this will save you? He asked. He traced her painted strokes gently. Silas turned to face the Duke. You betrayed us all. Marina's chest tightened with fear. He stepped back, surveying the ledger. Proof, he scoffed. He flicked the parchment aside. Rainwater dripped on the hardwood. He sneered at Marina's hidden spot. You can't hide forever. The Duke straightened, anger flaring. Leave her alone, Silas. Silas laughed, low and mocking. I do what I must. He strode toward them both. The Duke drew his sword slowly. Steel gleamed under the studio lights. Silas froze at the blade's edge. Marina peeked around the canvas. Her heart pounded with urgency. She clenched the locket in her fist. Silas's eyes flicked to her hiding place. He smiled cruelly. Come out, painter. The Duke lowered his sword. Not worth her blood. Silas shrugged and left quietly. Rain pounded on the skylight above. Marina exhaled a shaky breath. The Duke sheathed his sword. He moved to her side. Are you safe? He asked softly. She nodded, voice trembling. Yes, for now. He offered a protective arm. She hesitated, then accepted. Outside, thunder rumbled ominously. She led him back to the easel. Her hand shook as she painted. Each stroke trembled with rage. Her mind raced with questions. Why does he hate my family? The Duke studied her work closely. Your strokes carry your pain. Marina's chest tightened further. She mixed ivory with a hint of gold. A sudden crash startled them again. A window shattered under a stray branch. Cold wind and rain blasted inside. She rushed forward to close it. The Duke helped, pressing the frame shut. He wrapped a coat around her shoulders. She shivered, warmth spreading slowly. He cares, but danger lingered. Her phone buzzed with an anonymous text, "Stop painting or suffer." She read it aloud, voice shaking. The Duke's eyes narrowed. He crushed his fist. We will not be silenced. She felt strength in his resolve. Her brush returned to the canvas. Each color blended with renewed purpose. She painted his eyes with care. She painted his heart with hope. Hours passed in urgent focus. Then his phone vibrated again. He read the message, face grim. Another threat, he murmured. Marina paused, brush dripping paint. They're watching every move. He traced a line under her eye. Keep painting, he urged firmly. She met his gaze through the portrait. Her fear gave way to determination. We will expose the truth. Outside, night deepened over Brooklyn. Inside, their alliance grew stronger. Shadows lingered at the doorway. Silas's threat loomed like a storm. Marina dipped her brush once more. Each stroke defies their darkness. She painted with fierce urgency. The studio lights flickered overhead. Her portrait neared completion. But Silas Blackwood had other plans. Early morning light filtered through the warehouse windows. Marina followed him into the makeshift gym. Concrete walls bore old boxing posters. He guided her to a heavy bag. Stand firm, he instructed. Her legs wobbled like saplings. He adjusted her stance gently. Weight on both feet, he said. She bit her lip in concentration. She threw a tentative jab. The bag swung with dull thuds. Her heart raced with adrenaline. He demonstrated a cross punch. His movements were precise and calm. She mirrored him clumsily. Her gloves brushed against his chest. He smiled, encouragement lighting his eyes. They moved to the speed bag next. Tap, 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 her rhythm broke. He counted softly. 1, 2, 3. She found a steady beat. Her frustration melted into focus. He nodded with approval. Next, they stepped onto the mats. He taught her a basic takedown. She stumbled, scraping her knee. Pain flared, but she held her ground. He helped her up, voice gentle. Resilience matters more than strength. Her breath shuddered quietly. She wiped sweat from her brow. Her mind flashed to Silas's threat. I won't run again. He watched her closely, respect in his gaze. They moved to the shooting range next. Targets lined the far wall. He handed her a small pistol. Her fingers trembled on the grip. Steady your breath, he coached softly. She inhaled, exhaled, then aimed. A shot rang out sharply. The target shuddered, a hole appearing. Her eyes widened in surprise. He offered a proud nod. Good form, he praised. She felt a spark of confidence. Her chest expanded with new strength. She lowered the gun slowly. He studied her expression closely. Trust yourself, he urged. She met his steady gaze. Her pulse slowed to a calm thrum. They returned to the heavy bag. Her movements flowed with purpose now. Jab, cross, hook, each punch precise. She felt power in her limbs. Her spirit burned with determination. He clapped once softly. You've grown, he observed. She exhaled a long breath. Her muscles ached pleasantly. She smiled through the pain. I can protect myself. He led her outside into sunlight. Autumn leaves spiraled around their feet. He introduced himself properly. Ethan Grayson, he said, extending a hand. She shook it firmly. His grip was warm and steady. A shared resolve passed between them. She tucked her gloves under her arm. He revealed his own past, a lineage burdened by ancient debts. His training came from a lifetime of duty. He trusted her with that secret now. She felt honored and humbled. Together, they walked back toward the studio. Her steps carried newfound confidence. Rain-dark clouds gathered overhead. Danger still lurked in every shadow, but Marina Cross felt stronger now. Her body and heart had both trained. She was ready for the next threat. She had learned more than self-defense today. She had discovered her own strength. The real test lay just ahead. Late afternoon sunlight filtered through the studio windows. Marina returned to her canvas, brush in hand. Ethan stood beside her quietly. Her focus sharpened with every stroke. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. She glanced down at the screen. A new message glowed ominously. "You trust the wrong person." Her heart stuttered. She looked at Ethan's steady profile. Her chest tightened with doubt. Ethan noticed her hesitation. "Everything all right?" he asked. She hid the phone behind her back. "Nothing," she lied softly. He nodded, unconvinced. Marina's brush faltered mid-stroke. She replayed the message in her mind. The wrong person. Could someone else betray her? She painted his jawline with care. A loud knock shattered the quiet. Ethan opened the door. A courier stood on the threshold. He handed Ethan a sealed envelope. No return address was visible. Ethan frowned and sliced it open. Inside lay an old photograph. Marina gasped at the image. Her late grandfather stood beside Sela's. They smiled broadly, arms around each other. Underneath, a single scribble read, "They were partners once." Marina's world spun. Her paintbrush clattered to the floor. Ethan caught it deftly. He handed it back silently. His eyes bore into hers. "What is this?" he whispered. She displayed the photo with trembling fingers. He took it, examined every detail. His face drained of color. "This changes everything." Marina's heart pounded. "How could my grandfather?" she began. Ethan cut her off gently. "Your family hid a secret." Rain began tapping against the glass. Marina pressed her palm to the photo. The studio lights flickered overhead. Her mind raced with betrayal's sting. She painted Silas's name again. Could her ally be an enemy? Her chest tightened with panic. Ethan folded the photograph carefully. He met her gaze solemnly. "We need answers." Marina nodded, voice barely audible. He led her to the ledger's pages. They flipped through past entries. She traced her grandfather's signature. Fees paid in secret, debts concealed. Her breath hitched sharply. She realized her family's full burden. Ethan's phone rang suddenly. He answered in a hushed tone. Marina watched his brow furrow. He ended the call abruptly. "He's coming," Ethan said. Her pulse raced. "Who?" she demanded. He exhaled slowly. "A government investigator." Marina's world dropped. Federal agents meant serious scrutiny. She recalled her father's anxious warnings. Justice would uncover everything. Silas's threat now seemed petty. This was a greater danger. Her vision blurred with tears. She pressed a palm to her heart. "The painting, it must reveal truth." Ethan nodded stiffly. He pulled a hidden drawer open. Inside lay a second locket. Her eyes widened, matching the Duke's but empty. She lifted it with wonder. "Where is the portrait?" Ethan's voice was tight. "They took it." Marina stared at him in shock. Her anchor vanished. "I painted his likeness," she whispered. He placed a reassuring hand on her arm. "But someone stole the original." Anguish twisted inside her. All her efforts threatened collapse. She sank onto a nearby stool. Her brush clattered against the canvas frame. Ethan knelt beside her. "Marina, listen to me." Her vision swam with betrayal. "Who would take it?" she asked. He hesitated, voice heavy. "My uncle." She recoiled at his confession. Ethan's uncle, her ally's family. A painful silence fell. Her fingers trembled around the locket. Her heart constricted with confusion. Ethan's gaze held regret. "I tried to protect you." Tears welled in her eyes. He reached for her hand. She pulled away gently. "This is too much," she whispered. Rain drummed on the skylight. Lightning flashed across the sky. Marina stood unsteadily. She faced him, voice firm. "I need to finish the portrait." He nodded, painful resolve in his eyes. Together they approached the easel. She dipped her brush in crimson again. Her strokes grew bold and fierce. Each line defied the betrayal. Her vision cleared with determination. Ethan stood silently in support. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. Marina's mind raced. Who can I truly trust? She painted the Duke's eyes with intensity. Lightning cast wild shadows across the room. Her brush trembled with emotion. Then the studio door burst open. A figure loomed in the doorway. Marina froze in shock. Ethan's hand tightened at his side. The stranger stepped forward, voice cold. "End this now, Marina Cross." Her heart lurched into her throat. Another betrayal awaits. The studio trembled with tension. Marina's heart pounded against her ribs. The stranger advanced with slow steps. Ethan rose swiftly to face him. Rainwater dripped from the stranger's coat. "Silas sends his regards," the man sneered. Marina's breath hitched in her throat. She gripped her brush like a weapon. Ethan's hand hovered near his sidearm. The stranger's eyes glinted with malice. "He warned me to stop you," he said. Marina stepped forward bravely. "You can't silence the truth," she declared. The man chuckled darkly. He produced a pistol from his pocket. Cold metal gleamed under the studio lights. Ethan moved between Marina and danger. He blocked the stranger's aim. A single shot rang out sharply. Smoke curled in the humid air. Marina staggered backward in shock. Ethan's hand flew to his shoulder. Blood bloomed on his shirt. "No!" Marina gasped, rushing to him. He steadied himself against her. Pain flickered across his face. "Finish it," he urged, voice strained. She pressed a palm to his wound. He forced her gently toward the easel. "Paint now," he whispered. Tears blurred her vision. She returned to the canvas. Her brush stroke shook with grief. Colors bled under her furious strokes. She painted his portrait with urgency. Each line became a battle cry. She heard footsteps pounding on the floor. Silas Blackwood burst through the door. His presence loomed like a storm cloud. He sneered at the bleeding ally. "Futile," he spat, voice rough. Marina met Silas's gaze defiantly. She raised her brush high. "Watch me finish." Silas's laugh echoed in the hall. "You'll die trying." He lunged forward, intent on harm. Ethan howled as he fell. Marina's world spun with panic. She dropped her brush to the floor. Silas advanced on Ethan's prone form. Marina roared with desperation. She snatched up a heavy paint jar. She hurled it with all her strength. It struck Silas's arm hard. He staggered, stunned by the blow. Marina seized her discarded brush. Blood dripped from Ethan's wound. She knelt beside him rapidly. "Stay with me," she pleaded. He squeezed her hand weakly. "Finish the portrait," he gasped. Silas recovered and charged again. Marina backed toward the balcony doors. The city lights flickered beyond. She clung to her brush like faith. Silas advanced, eyes cold. Marina's fingers trembled fiercely. She lifted the brush once more. "Leave him," she challenged, voice strong. Silas paused, a flicker of doubt. Surprise warred with rage in his eyes. Marina took advantage of the pause. She dashed past him toward the balcony. Silas lunged to grab her. She knocked his hand aside. His grip scraped her wrist painfully. She tumbled onto the balcony floor. Cold wind cut through her soaked dress. Below, the street stretched into darkness. Ethan groaned from inside the studio. Silas followed, furious and unbalanced. Marina pressed herself against the rail. Her breath came in ragged gasps. She held the brush aloft like a torch. "Stop this!" she shouted into the storm. Silas hesitated, caught off guard. Lightning illuminated his conflicted face. Marina's chest heaved with despair and hope. She balanced on the balcony edge. Silas took a step nearer. She closed her eyes, tears mingling with rain. "I must end this now." She flung the brush over the rail. It spun in the night before clattering below. Silas's jaw clenched at the loss. Her empty hand groped for the railing. He lunged forward in rage. Marina twisted away swiftly. He stumbled and lost his footing. Silas's scream echoed as he fell. The storm swallowed his final cry. Marina gasped in stunned silence. Her legs gave way beneath her. She slid down onto the balcony floor. Rain plastered her hair to her face. She pressed her hand to her heart. Inside, sirens wailed in the distance. Ethan's groan drew her back. She scrambled to her feet. She slipped inside the studio. He lay pale but breathing steadily. Marina knelt beside him swiftly. She tore strips from her coat. She pressed them against his wound. He coughed weakly against her chest. She traced his face with trembling fingers. "You're alive," she whispered fiercely. He nodded, pain in his eyes. She scooped him into her arms, his weight felt like fragile hope. She carried him toward the back exit. Shattered glass and paint tubes littered their path. She paused at the door, glancing back. His shattered portrait lay on the easel, colors streaked with her tears. She whispered, "I'll finish it." Ethan smiled weakly in agreement. She guided him into the alleyway. The night swallowed their hurried steps. Thunder rolled behind them. They vanished into the storm-lashed streets. A new dawn waited beyond the darkness. But first, they needed to survive. The final escape was just beginning. Dawn's light pierced the alley's gloom. Marina carried Ethan to a safe house. Her aunt's brownstone stood empty and warm. She laid him gently on a tattered sofa. He winced but managed a small smile. "I never doubted you," he whispered. She pressed a cool cloth to his brow. Outside, rain slowed to gentle drizzle. She wrapped him in a thick blanket. His breathing steadied, fatigue easing. Marina exhaled a relieved breath. Her mind raced with their next steps. She must finish the portrait today and expose her family's truth. She fetched her paint box quickly. Ethan sat up, wincing at the movement. "Need coffee," he murmured. She handed him a steaming mug. Warmth spread through him. He studied her determined face. "You'll need help," he said softly. Marina nodded, eyes bright with resolve. She gathered her brushes and canvas. Together, they left the safe house. Brooklyn's streets shimmered under fresh rain. She guided Ethan in a wheelchair. Her father's estate stood nearby. Flags flew at half-mast in respect. Inside the grand hall, agents waited. Marina rolled in like a storm. She carried the unfinished portrait carefully. Her father stood behind the agents, his eyes filled with pride and worry. Marina cleared her throat firmly. "I have proof." She unveiled the canvas to the crowd. Gasps echoed among the solemn faces. Her bold strokes revealed hidden ledger entries. Silas's name slashed through false debts. Agents whispered as they leaned closer. Marina held her breath. The lead investigator stepped forward. He examined the canvas and ledger. His gaze softened with respect. "This clears your family's name," he announced. Her father wept quietly beside her. Marina's heart soared with relief. Ethan wheeled himself forward bravely. He lifted a matching locket. Inside, her miniature portrait gleamed. She offered it to the investigator. He nodded gravely, pocketing the piece. "Evidence complete," he declared. Silas Blackwood's arrest followed swiftly. Agents led him away in handcuffs. His sneer turned to stunned fury. Marina watched him go, tears in her eyes. Outside, sunshine broke through clouds. She turned to Ethan gratefully. He brushed rain-damp hair from her face. "You did it," he whispered. She smiled through her tears. Her father embraced her and Jonah. Her mother joined the warm circle. Family bonds strengthened in relief. Later, Marina returned to her studio. Her easel waited under soft light. She dipped her brush in gentle gold. Each stroke carried healing and hope. She painted the Duke's triumphant smile. She added petals drifting in sunlight. The portrait felt alive with promise. Hours later, she set her brushes aside. The painting glowed with warmth and truth. Ethan entered, leaning on crutches now. He studied her work, eyes bright. "It's perfect," he said softly. Marina met his gaze with warmth. They stood close, hearts beating together. Jonah arrived with fresh coffee and muffins. He cheered as they revealed the finished piece. Family laughter filled the studio. Her father admired her bravery. Her mother wiped tears with pride. Marina and Ethan shared a shy glance. Their bond deepened beyond friendship. Ethan offered his arm with a grin. She linked her elbow through his. Together they walked into the courtyard. Brooklyn Bridge glittered in the distance. Autumn leaves crunched under their feet. He paused, turning to her warmly. "I kept your portrait on my heart," he murmured. She blushed, heart fluttering. He held out the matching locket. She opened it to reveal her miniature. His hand brushed hers gently. They both smiled, warmth blossoming. A new chapter awaited them both. Marina closed her eyes, savoring hope. Truth avenged, family healed, love ignited. She whispered into the crisp air, "Let's paint our future together."